This section is entitled The Whole Cosmic Order is Under Lord Krishna. So let us understand this section. The first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is more or less an introduction to the entire subject matter. The second chapter describes the difference between the body and the soul. This subject is considered to be confidential knowledge. More or less in this material world, nowadays people deal with external knowledge. There are departments of politics, departments of engineering, departments of medical science, sociology, history, geography. In this way, there are different departments of knowledge, but we rarely find department of knowledge which discusses about the difference between the body and soul. The subject matter of soul is very, very confidential. It has to be understood from the supreme authority Krishna himself and from his disciplic succession through the Vedic scriptures. Vedic scriptures is given by the Lord himself in the incarnation as Vyasadeva. He has recorded everything. So this subject is very rare and it is confidential. Chapter 7 and 8 deal with devotional service. They are considered to be more confidential knowledge. And chapter 9 is entitled here as the most confidential knowledge because it deals with pure unalloyed devotional service. The activities of the soul is considered to be the most confidential knowledge, which Lord Krishna will be describing in this chapter. So let us understand this chapter. In this first section, Krishna describes how the whole cosmic manifestation rests under him. So let us understand this topic. Lord Krishna says, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyamyanasuyave Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Yajñatva Mokshase Shubhat. The Supreme Lord said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So Lord Krishna is telling, now you hear from me this most confidential knowledge. Hearing from Krishna, hearing the topics about Krishna from devotees are very, very potent. Because by hearing about Krishna or hearing directly from Krishna, one understands the Supreme Lord Krishna himself. Because understanding Krishna and his activities and his glories is not at all easy. It is all very, very confidential subject, and it can be understood only in the association of pure devotees. When we hear about Krishna in the association of pure devotees, then one can understand Krishna's potencies, one can understand Krishna's glories, and one can realize these things. So it is important to hear from Krishna, and Krishna is telling that, now I shall describe to you this knowledge, knowing which you shall be free from all material miseries. So idam jnanam refers to pure devotional service, because ultimately the perfection of knowledge is to perform devotion to Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj has described 9 different ways of pure devotional service: hearing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, then remembering Krishna, worshipping Krishna, serving the lotus feet of Krishna, serving Krishna as a servant, serving Krishna as a friend, offering everything to Krishna. So these are the 9 different ways one can perform devotional service. So Krishna is going to describe these topics in this particular chapter, and he tells Arjuna, you are qualified to understand this subject because you are Anasuyave. Anasuyave means Arjuna, he is non-envious of Krishna. In this entire creation, in this entire existence, Krishna is a special person. He is supreme person. Everyone else are Krishna's servants. So Arjuna is not envious of Krishna's supreme position. Arjuna loves Krishna as his friend and he is a devotee of Krishna. Therefore, he is qualified to understand Krishna and his glories. So Krishna is also pleased to reveal this confidential knowledge to Arjuna. So if we have to understand Bhagavad Gita, the true purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to make everyone surrender to Krishna as his servant and serve him. This is the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. After hearing Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna agreed to fight because Krishna wanted the fight. So Arjuna, in the beginning, he was not willing to fight. So when Arjuna understood that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and he is his servant, every living being is servant of Krishna, and the only duty of the living beings is to carry out the orders of Krishna with love and devotion, Arjuna very vigorously fought. So if we have to understand Bhagavad Gita as Krishna is describing, we have to have qualification like Arjuna. We have to agree whatever Krishna has told as truth, and we have to surrender to Krishna and serve Krishna. There are many philosophers, many commentators on Bhagavad Gita who deviate from this central point of Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, their commentaries are all useless and unauthorized. Only pure devotees give the correct meaning to the verses of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that you are qualified to understand this most confidential knowledge. So now you hear this confidential subject. So Krishna says further, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So Krishna is describing various qualities of this king of education, the most confidential knowledge. So Krishna is telling, this is Raja Vidya, this is the king of all knowledge. There are many different departments of knowledge, and the perfection of all knowledge is to understand one's own self as spirit, soul, and the most confidential part of knowledge is to understand that we are all parts of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and our duty is to love Krishna and serve Krishna. This is the most confidential subject, which is very, very rarely understood by people who are in search of knowledge. So this is the perfection of knowledge, because people are involved in varieties of activities, and mostly people perform various varieties of sinful activities. Because of sinful activities we get reactions, and it's because of those reactions to sin we suffer in this material world. But devotional activities to Krishna are so potent that by performing devotional activities, the reactions of sin becomes nullified and one becomes free from all miseries. Therefore, it is called Pavitram, and it is also called Uttamam because it enlightens one, it uplifts one from this material existence, which is also called darkness, to the transcendental spiritual light. It enlightens one about his true existence as part of the Supreme Lord and about his connection with the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is called Uttamam. And then it is Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam. One can realize it directly. When we engage in devotional service to Krishna, we can directly experience the connection with the Supreme Lord and transcendental pleasure that we get by serving Krishna. And then it is Susukham Kartum Avyayam. From beginning, one can experience the transcendental pleasure of serving Krishna. So it is joyfully performed. One can hear Krishna's bhajans, kirtans. One can see the beautiful form of Lord Krishna decorated very nicely in the temples. One can taste very palatable dishes which are offered to Krishna. In that way, we can joyfully perform devotion to Krishna, and even the poorest man can perform devotion to Krishna. We can offer with love and devotion one fruit, one flower, one leaf, or little water. Krishna will happily accept it. So the most important thing is our love and devotion. So in this way, devotional service to Krishna is the king of all knowledge, and it is joyfully performed. It purifies one, it gives pleasure to the performer. So nice it is to perform devotion to Krishna. So Krishna will be describing these things in this chapter.